Okay, good day and welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna continue on the V-4 206. We're gonna do some piston work, and then after that I've got something channel related I want to talk about, so stick around for that. First order of business is I have to be able to press the cylinders out of the sleeves. Now I have a 12-ton press, and last year when I was working on the bearings for the belt pulley for the Z and the 335, I bent the crap out of this and busted it off. So I kind of left it sit, and I just started looking at it this week, and I really don't have a good way to fix this. Even if I could get a grinder in here and clean it up and try to weld it back on, I'm still going to have a very bent piece of metal. I thought about maybe finding another piece, having it threaded, and then drilling this out and then like bolting it all together, but I think really the point that I'm at is I need to buy myself a new press. I'd really like to upgrade to a 20-ton with air assist, but not quite sure yet, and I'm not exactly at the point where I'm ready to dump money into it. I want to do some more research, so that means I have to find a different alternative. Luckily, I pretty much always have a plan B, so we're going to go to plan B. Okay, we got a nice 20-ton press for our use. You can see I've got the first cylinder block all set up. This is the one that doesn't have the broke piston in it. You can see that I've got an aluminum bung down there to press against, and I've got the other camera set up to read the pressure gauge so that you guys will be able to see how much pressure it takes to get this to break loose. I'm guessing these two it shouldn't be much, so we're gonna go ahead and see if we can get this one pushed out. There it goes. Still pushing. That oil ring. Okay, there's the shoulder. I think I'm running out of
The best part about this press is now I'll take these shims out that I've got holding the block up, and then this just slides over and I can do the next one. I didn't get to see what the pressure was reading, so we'll have to see what the other camera said, but that came out relatively slick. Okay, I'll hook it up and we'll do number 2. It didn't even register a pressure. There was nothing for that one to come out. Number 2. Okay, so I've got cylinder number 3 set up, and my prediction is this one's going to come out relatively easy. It's pretty much already at the bottom. It's coming out of the bottom of the sleeve already, so we'll hook it up, and I'm pretty sure this is going to pop out pretty quick. Okay, this is it. This is the piston that was stuck, that got the top of it blown through. I'm hoping that this slug is going to be enough not to break that thing out any more than it already is, and actually push it through the cylinder. So, not quite sure how this is going to go, but we're going to go for it. Holy cow, it was loose. It's going to push it right through. I am totally shocked. There is our bad piston. All right, with that, we'll head back to the regular shop. Okay, and just like that, we're back in the workshop. I've got the pistons all broke down, so we can take a closer look in some good light here and kind of inspect these and see what we have. So I was pretty certain that the engine didn't freeze up until after whatever caused this. So with the with the crankshaft being stuck, I knew that one of these was seized up, but I didn't think it was bad, and I was pretty much right. And it ended up being cylinder number 4 that was the toughest to press out. It took about 3 tons of pressure to get that one to snap, but even at that, it's not terrible. The others, it really hardly took any pressure at all. So this one was rusted in the worst, and you can kind of see it around those top rings there. But this is definitely a salvageable piston. We'll be able to clean that one up. We'll be able to clean both of these up, no problem. And then number 1 was our catastrophic failure. So that's going to be going on a junk treasure shelf. But yeah, it definitely blew out the top before the engine seized. There's no doubt about it. All the wrist pins look good. So everything here is going to be usable. This is going to be usable. The only thing I have to do is find another piston. So then moving on to the cylinder blocks themselves. If you look at, this would have been number 1 cylinder. And this one was almost up at top dead center. And this is the one that had the hole in it. But the sleeve itself, assuming you can see that, right below where it was stuck, so like right under here, is in really, really good shape. I'm gonna have to get the bore sizer out and see what I have for size in there, but I'm pretty happy with that. And the other cylinders too, yeah, they're dirty and crappy up above where everything was stuck, but it's not as bad as I thought it was originally. I think on all of these that I can potentially get these cleaned up. I think these are going to be reusable. It just depends on how much pitting I end up seeing underneath some of this heavier coated rust. But yeah, I don't think this is going to be much of a problem. I think that's going to clean up, and then we'll just have to see how far out of spec it is. But I'm liking that. I'm liking that. And then of course I'll have to do a pressure test on the water jackets to make sure we don't have any cracked cylinders or any problems there. But that'll be the next step, is to start cleaning stuff up. And then as long as we're at it, I'm going to take you over to the cylinder heads and show you what I found there. So here we've got a stuck exhaust valve. Here we've got the other end of that broken exhaust valve that we found in the bottom of the crankcase. So that would have been right there. I was able to move this a little bit, but it's got to be bent because I'm having a really hard time getting it out of there. So I stopped and figured I'd leave it in the video. I've got to get all these studs taken out, which looks like it's going to be a real treat. And then I've already started looking for some tools so that I can make my own pressure testing kit. It looks like it's going to come in around $100. It won't be too bad, but I'll be able to piece together a kit that I can actually pressure test this stuff with. And potentially we'll get that on video too, so that you can see how to do it on your own at home. Looking at our push rods. So I've got 5 push rods that look to be pretty good. I got to get them on a real flat surface and roll them and see, but these all look pretty good. And then I've got 3 that are in pretty bad shape. So each of them have a pretty good bend to them. And then the tops are all worn down. Yep, that one's got a little chip out of it. And that one's got a chip out of it. So I got to get 3 push rods, which I believe I already have. So that's no big deal. And then I figured I'd take a look at the rockers too. The rockers actually look okay. And there's a lot of wear on the tappets. A lot of wear. I'm going to have to get those cleaned up before I put this back together. But the other end of them, the end that those push rods connect to, they all look to be pretty good. So no major damage on the rockers, which is a good thing. So that's kind of where we're at there. So again, the next step is both the cylinder head and the cylinder blocks are going to have to get completely cleaned up, get all of this extra junk off of them, and then come up with that pressure test kit so that I can make sure that everything is going to hold water before I put it back together. It's one of those things where I learned the lesson last time, and I'm not going to make that mistake again. So that is primarily where we are at with this. I do have one other thing that I want to go over that is not V-4 related. It's actually I-4 related. So this is still that bad block that I purchased in the auction. I did get the front pulley off, and then behind the front pulley there's a dust sleeve. So the dust sleeve comes off, and then behind the dust sleeve is the governor. So that sits in front of sorry
sorry, get you a good shot there. This little horseshoe shaped lever. So as centrifugal force acts on these weighted balls inside, it forces the governor forward, or actually I guess it would force the governor backwards. So it forces the governor back away from the engine. That would move the lever that is supposed to be attached here, but that broke off. And that's what acts on the carburetor. So I still have to get a punch and punch that out so that I can pull this apart. And then I'm going to get this thing off the stand on its side and get that crankshaft out. And I really need to get this engine stand emptied because now we have another engine that needs to go on it. Alright, now to the portion where we're going to talk about the channel. It's really more of an announcement than anything else. Most channels out there don't use their name for their branding. They have some type of a brand, and I've spent a long time trying to figure out what my brand would be. I played with a lot of different things over the last 3 years, and nothing has ever really stuck. And after the purchase of these last two 445s, Will and I were talking, and I asked him what he thought about changing the name of the channel and branding it Iron Cross Acres. And we both kind of looked at each other and said, that really just kind of rolls off the tongue right. It feels right. And so with that, before the next video comes out, the channel will be rebranded to Iron Cross Acres. That is what we'll be calling ourselves. So I think it really identifies with what the majority of our collection is right now, which is the 445s and the 335. So yeah, going forward, this will be Iron Cross Acres. So that's it for this episode. Thanks for tuning in and joining us on Iron Cross Acres, and as always, take your foot off the clutch. Thanks everybody.